Now at 10, the Rotary Club of Pittsburgh raises money for an area organization. We'll tell you how. Plus, a local expert provides tips on keeping our pipes from freezing in this wintry weather. And we'll hear from the Quapaw Wildcats as they head on the road this week to take on the undefeated Hominy Bucks.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
As we head into the holiday season, a lot of 4-staters struggle to pay for food, but a local organization is making a difference. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. The Rotary Club in Pittsburgh tonight helped raise funds for the Lord's Diner during an annual phone-a-thon event. KOAM was there to see what the event's all about.
So this is one of the biggest things that our club does.
The Pittsburgh Noon Rotary Club calls area residents to encourage them to pledge or donate to the Lord's Diner, which provides nutritious meals to anyone who is hungry.
Our club decided to make this our primary local philanthropy. And so all 100 members just really got behind the cause and said that this is something that we feel that is important, not only for our community, but for humanity. And we wanted to be a part of it. And so, we're really proud that we've been able to raise several $100,000 over the last few years.
It costs the diner $1 a day for each meal, with approximately 300 people being served daily. This is all possible through generous donations.
But, we're calling folks up and just saying, look, it's been a year since you donated to the Lord's Diner. It's the giving season. Would you please consider a generous donation once again this year?
Last year's phone-a-thon raised $215,000, and this year the group hopes to raise $225,000. The Lord's Diner serves meals 365 days a year and recently took the show on the road and is now meeting guests in their neighborhoods and on their streets thanks to their new food truck.
We know there's a lot of need in our community, and so knowing that our club can be at least a small part of helping to ensure that there is less need, I think everybody who's here tonight feels the same way, that we're just happy to be a part of it. If everybody helps just a little bit, and you put all those pieces together, you can make some really great progress.
In Pittsburgh, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
If you're interested in donating to the Lord's Diner, you can go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. Some Southwest Missouri students held a food drive for Thanksgiving. This is video from last year where they held a domino run to demonstrate all the items collected and have some fun with the boxes of food. Student council members from Granby and Stella organized classroom competitions from both schools to see who could gather the most non-perishable food items. That food will be put into Thanksgiving baskets and given to patrons of the East Newton School District.
Families are identified through a couple of channels. They can ask for help with the East Newton United Board. They can sign up with a form or a pamphlet that we've got. And also, if they've kind of just been with us, or we know of them, or have been aware of them, they're automatically on as when we know that they need help or assistance from an outside source.
That food drive ended today. We have another cold night ahead of us. Checking in with Doug.
Yeah, it's going to be a cold one across the region. It's already cold outside right now. We didn't warm up much today, only 38. We started at 23. We're going to get down to a similar number once again for us tonight. Normal high is 58, so well shy of where we should be. It's 29 Lamar, 29 Carthage. We have 24 in Joplin. Miami at 29. It's down to 20 in Parsons. So it's getting cold across the region. We have clear skies, but we'll start to get some clouds increasing later on tonight. You can see them kind of sneaking in to northern parts of Kansas as we get another little wave that's going to rotate in during the daytime hours for us tomorrow. So for tonight, we kind of hang in the low to mid 20s, overnight low of 22, some sunshine in the morning, a little bit warmer for us tomorrow, and then right back down once again, even some snow chances. We'll look at that here in just a bit.
See you then. Frozen water pipes can be an unexpected frustration during this cold weather, and as the temperature continues to drop, it becomes even more important to make sure our pipes are well insulated. An official with the Missouri American Water says warm pipes are a necessity to get through the cold winter.
When your pipes burst in your home, not only are you going to have a lot of water in your house, which could cause a lot of damage, but you also have the inconvenience of not having water service. And if you think about just even going 24 hours without water service, that's an inconvenience to a lot of people.
If you plan on going away during cold weather, experts recommend leaving the heat on in your home set to a temperature no lower than 55 degrees. The Joplin SWAT team was unable to find the man they sought yesterday, but we now know who he is. Law officers yesterday surrounded a home on the 1800 block of Joplin's West 21st Street for several hours. They were searching for a domestic assault suspect they believed was in the house. That suspect was not there, but authorities have now released his identity as they continue their search. He's 32-year-old Christopher L. Smith of Joplin. Authorities say Smith assaulted a woman by punching her in the head multiple times and choking her. Smith has an active warrant for second-degree domestic assault. Authorities have charged a man with the armed robbery of a pizza delivery driver in Joplin. The suspect, Austin Bryant. Investigators say the victim was making a pizza delivery to a home on West 20th Street in Joplin when a man pointed a gun at him and demanded the pizza, his phone, and all of his money. Police determined the suspect was in a nearby home. They eventually called in the SWAT team, made the arrest. Bryant is charged with first-degree robbery and armed criminal action. His bond is set at $100,000 cash only. The victim was not harmed. A Tennessee man is formally charged, accused in the traffic death of a Southwest Missouri man. The July crash claimed the life of 67-year-old Dell Clark of Neck City. Nashville police say Jeremy King of Troy, Tennessee, was driving 89 miles an hour and passing cars when he clipped another car and lost control. He then hit two other cars, including Clark's. Police say King is still hospitalized. There were no signs of alcohol or drug impairment. King is charged with vehicular homicide by recklessness, among other counts. Coming up, Cherokee Nation looks finally to see a nearly 200-year-old promise fulfilled. Plus, the latest on a deadly blast in Poland, which caused tensions between NATO and Russia. The Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma moved a step closer today to having a promise fulfilled from nearly 200 years ago that a delegate from the tribe be seated in Congress. Cherokee Nation Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin was among those who testified before the U.S. House Rules Committee, which is the first to examine the prospect of seating a Cherokee delegate in the U.S. House. Hoskin put the effort in motion in 2019 when he nominated Kimberly Teehee, a former advisor to President Barack Obama, to the position. If Teehee were to be seated, her role would likely be similar to other non-voting members of Congress. Though those members can't vote on the House floor, they can vote in committee and introduce legislation and engage in debate. The tribe's right to a delegate is detailed in the Treaty of New Echota, signed in 1835, but it has never been exercised. Tensions have eased somewhat in Eastern Europe after preliminary assessments suggest Russia did not launch the missile that hit Poland. That avoids triggering Article 5 of the NATO Charter, which would have significantly ramped up the conflict. But as reporter Deborah Alfarone reports, it doesn't mean Russia is being let off the hook for the deaths of two Polish men.
The explosion that killed two people in Poland most likely came from a Ukrainian defense missile. Top U.S. military officials saying it happened while Ukraine was fending off a barrage of missiles from Russia.
The world knows that Russia bears ultimate responsibility for this incident.
Russia launched upwards of 100 missiles on Tuesday, its largest wave since the invasion began in February. The target, Ukraine's energy grid.
The deliberate targeting of the civilian power grid, causing excessive collateral damage and unnecessary suffering on the civilian population, is a war crime.
With winter fast approaching, over a quarter of Ukraine is without power. In newly liberated Kherson, residents came together in the central square to reconnect, charge their phones, and receive much-needed food and supplies.
We decided to come to Kherson because we probably figured there would be some work here for us, and the need was great, and as you can see, it is.
Speaking from the G20 in Indonesia, President Biden says Russia needs to realize the world is united against its war.
Russia can and should stop the war. If they're able to do it, they can stop it tomorrow.
The president is asking Congress for $37 billion in emergency aid to continue supporting Ukraine. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Congressman Kevin McCarthy, likely the new Speaker of the House come January, says Ukraine won't have a blank check once the GOP is in control. A little bit later, NASA makes an ambitious jump back to the moon. We'll take a look at the newest space mission.
Plus, super cold night once again, even some rain and snow chances in the forecast. We'll look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a cold one for us today. We had the clouds, even some flurries during the morning hours, and then some sunshine during the afternoon. We just didn't warm up much, unfortunately. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, past 36 hours, I haven't gone anywhere. Only 40 yesterday. Then we dipped into the mid-20s. We only warmed into the upper 30s for highs, and of course, we're going the wrong direction for us now. It's 24 in Nevada, it's 28 in Monette, Anderson 29, Miami 24, Pitt 23. It's also 23 in Chanute. Let's go outside 7th and Rangelines. Clear skies up top, southerly wind light. It has made it feel a little bit colder than what it actually is over the past couple hours. So we have wind chill factors upper teens to lower 20s across the region. As we go through the night, we hang out into the 20s. Overnight low 22. A little bit of sunshine in the morning. We do warm up to 38 by 10. It is actually going to be warmer tomorrow compared to what we saw today, which is good news. All right, we got clear skies right now, but just to our north, some clouds in increasing northern parts of Kansas. This is our next little wave. We keep getting these waves that rotate in due to our jet stream right out of Canada. So one, this gives us little fast waves. Two, it ushers in the cooler Canadian air. That's why it's been so cold the past few days, and it's sticking around for the rest of the week. All right, let's go through time. Here's 7 a.m. Clouds start to thicken, sitting into lower 20s. As we go to the noon hour, southern counties, sunshine, northern counties, a lot of clouds, even a few random showers up toward Fort Scott and Pleasanton. As we get into the afternoon, at least better, mid-40s, but another cold front is heading in our direction. Here at 4:30, you can still see some showers in our northern counties, and then as we work through the evening, this pink is a rain-snow mix, the blue is snow, very light, mainly on the Missouri side, not much on the Kansas or the Oklahoma side. As we go into the evening, periods of very light snow, southwestern Missouri, and then we switch to just good old flurries as we go through Friday night. A lot of clouds on Friday, but we don't really go anywhere. We only warm up into the lower 30s for afternoon highs. If there were any accumulations, it would be very light, mainly on the Missouri side, dusting upwards of a ½ an inch. Here's your day planner, 26 in the morning, 44 by noon, high of 47, but those clouds thicken and a few showers on the Missouri side by the time we head into the evening hours. Let's go ahead and jump into next week. We do warm up, 50s, near 60s, Tuesday, but Wednesday showers start to develop, and it looks like decent chances for rain on Thanksgiving. Could even end with a little bit of snow, so that's something we'll focus our attention on as we go through the next few days. 47 tomorrow, only 34 Friday, 21 Friday night, 44 for Saturday. I heard there's kind of a big college football game that day. 49 on Sunday, 50s Monday and Tuesday, 60s into Thanksgiving, but it looks kind of wet for traveling, so we'll have to watch that.
And it'll be cold for that Gorillas playoff game, but you know, it's not going to be raining, and people should go.
It'll be good football weather.
Absolutely. Thanks, Doug. NASA took a giant leap back to the moon with the successful launch of Artemis 1 overnight following a series of delays. Christian Benavides is at the Kennedy Space Center with a look at the historic mission.
We are getting our first images from the Orion capsule following this morning's liftoff of NASA's most powerful rocket.
And liftoff of Artemis 1.
It's like the first moon launch in 50 years, right? So that's like historical.
The Artemis 1 mission finally launched after 8 months of back and forth from its launch pad. It was delayed by 2 hurricanes and numerous technical issues, including hydrogen leaks. New leaks showed up Tuesday night, just before the launch window opened, and a group of NASA technicians, known as the Red Crew, were sent onto the launch pad to assess and fix the leak.
My heart was pumping. My nerves were going, but Yeah, we showed up today.
The rocket has sent the Orion capsule with no astronauts on board on a journey around the moon. In 25 days, it's expected to splash down in the Pacific.
The Artemis program is named after Apollo's mythical twin sister. NASA is planning on sending astronauts back to the moon as early as 2025, 50 years after the Apollo program ended.
This is just the test flight, and we are stressing it and testing it to make it as safe as possible, as reliable as possible.
NASA says the ultimate goal from this test flight and the Artemis moon missions is to also send a crew to Mars one day. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, at the Kennedy Space Center.
The mission cost more than $4 billion. Jacob here now with sports. Kansas City Chiefs are back in prime time this weekend.
Yeah, Kansas City hits the road to face the Chargers on Sunday night. We're going to talk about that. Plus, the Quapaw Wildcats have a chance to move on to the state quarterfinals on Friday night. We'll hear from the Wildcats up next. Wildcats are still alive for a football state title. The Quapaw is one of just 16 teams remaining in the Class A state bracket. Now, the 10-1 Wildcats are going to be on the road this Friday night, facing the undefeated Hominy Bucks. Last week, Quapaw won their playoff opener over Sallisaw Central, 28-22. Now, this Quapaw team, obviously pretty dangerous, especially on offense. They have a 2,000-yard quarterback, completing 75% of his throws. They've rushed for more than 1,200 yards. And Quapaw has 4 players with more than 250 receiving yards this fall.
It feels good knowing that it's not a one-man show. Definitely not. We can go left side, we can go to this receiver and then this receiver, and it's nice putting that on teams and making them stress about that. It's win or go home. I mean, every play matters. It's just you take one play off, they bust a touchdown, you lose by 6, you go home, and the season's over, especially as a senior. It's a lot of pressure, but we love it.
The Kansas City Chiefs are back in prime time this week. Chiefs will be on the road against the Chargers Sunday night, aiming for their 4th straight win. Kansas City 7-2 heading into this weekend. They were without some offensive weapons at practice today. Juju Smith-Schuster, McCole Hardman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They were all sidelined with injuries or illness. But this team still has plenty of other playmakers, and Patrick Mahomes, going to make it work with whoever's out there.
We put guys in positions to succeed. And so for me, it's about executing the offense, finding the open guy, and getting the ball in my hands and letting those guys make plays. And we've seen over the year that these guys can make plays in big moments. And so we'll give them those chances, as well as have some younger guys step up, and then hopefully we can get some guys back later in the week. And if not, we'll be ready to go with whoever's out there.
The Missouri Southern men's basketball team will be back on the floor on Friday night, facing Illinois Springfield in the Pitt State Classic. The Lions are aiming for their first win after dropping their first 2 games against Minnesota State and Winona State. And despite dropping those 2 games, there were still some good things Southern took away.
They compete, they play hard. We got to get a little tougher, but I know they played hard. They gave it their best effort, and that's all you can ask for. We're just hungry to get better, and we definitely will. We use today as a stepping stone to get better, and it's just a long journey, so there's a long ways to go.
Finally, some Division I action tonight. The Arkansas Razorbacks, 2-0 to start the season, ranked 9th in the country, face South Dakota State. Arkansas wins another one, 71-56. Ricky Council scores a team-high 19 points for the Razorbacks. We got a busy weekend coming up, but like you guys were talking about a little bit ago, Pitt State, 1 o'clock, facing the University of Indianapolis in their first playoff game.
It's been a long time since they've had a playoff game, period, much less at home.
8 years.
Really?
Gorilla fans been waiting. I hope they show up.
But they've packed the stadium. We'll be right back. Take time now to honor a local veteran. John Orton served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 1945. A Joplin native stationed in Normandy. And we're proud to salute technician John Orton, a 4-state hero. Missouri Southern's in the spotlight of the streaming show. The university today rolled out the green carpet with the premiere of a new episode of the show, The College Tour. Each episode of this show highlights campus life at colleges, universities all around the globe, with students sharing personal stories about their experiences. The MSSU episode was filmed in April with 10 students interviewed.
We're the first school in our state to sign a contract with them to produce this, to then months and months of production meetings, 34 students auditioning, 10 finalists being chosen, and then a buy-in from the campus in the spring when the film crew was here for a week, just shooting crazy schedule all day.
To watch the episode on Missouri Southern, just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A lot of people seem to speak to their cat as if that cat is their own child. Some of you might feel like they're ignoring you, the child and the cat, but rest assured, they're not ignoring you. Well, the cat's not anyway, the child might be. Their reactions, they're just kind of subtle. Researchers played recordings of different types of speech, different speakers, and when they studied video recordings of the encounters, they realized that the cats had subtle reactions to their owners. They included moving an ear, turning their head toward the speaker, or freezing what they were doing. So maybe your cat actually does care about you more than you realize, or maybe it doesn't. But at any rate, it knows you're talking to it. It might be choosing to ignore it because it's a cat.
So all that really proved is cats can hear.
Yes. And that if they appear to be snobbish toward you, well, maybe it's because they're snobbish. Apparently. I know there are cat lovers out there who are probably going to write us. Write you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, the weather.
Cold tonight. We're going to dip back into lower 20s, 47 tomorrow.
Final sports notes.
Missouri Southern women's basketball plays their home opener tomorrow at noon against Angelo State.
Very good. Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.